What if your anxiety isn't a disorder?
What if it isn't a flaw you need to medicate or meditate away?
Imagine for a moment that your constant scanning, your overthinking, and your sensitivity are not symptoms of being broken. Instead, they are the functional components of a sophisticated piece of internal technology. Your anxiety isn't a disorder, it's a high-performance radar system built from the wreckage of your past. This system was forged in environments where you had to anticipate the next threat just to feel safe. It was designed slowly and painfully because your survival depended on it. While you were just trying to get through the day, you were unknowingly developing a rare and powerful form of intellect. But nobody ever called it that. Instead, you were likely told you were too sensitive, too anxious, or simply too much. If you've ever felt that your mind operates on a different frequency, one that constantly analyzes, predicts, and feels things others miss, then you need to hear this. This video is about a concept we call traumatic intelligence. We're going to explore 8 distinct signs that you possess this intelligence. And for the first time, the way your brain works might finally make complete sense. This is the validation you've been searching for. Welcome to a new way of understanding yourself. The journey we are about to take will likely bring up moments of profound recognition. You may find yourself nodding along as we put words to feelings you thought were yours alone. We are going to make sense of the contradictions that live inside you. We will explore why you can feel both incredibly capable and deeply fragile at the same time. But before we dive into the 8 signs, it is crucial that we establish a clear and responsible foundation. So let me be very clear about this next point. Traumatic intelligence is a framework for understanding, not a clinical diagnosis. This concept is a tool for self-exploration and empowerment, designed to help you reframe your experiences in a more compassionate light. It is not a substitute for professional medical advice, therapy, or diagnosis from a qualified healthcare provider. By offering this distinction, we create a safe space to explore these ideas without pathologizing them. Now, with that important understanding in place, let's begin to unpack the gifts that your unique history has given you. By the end of this video, you'll not only understand this intelligence, but you'll have one tool to start managing it. Let's explore the first sign, which is something you have probably always considered a source of anxiety. Are you ready to see your overthinking in a new light? The first sign of traumatic intelligence is deep intuition, which you have likely mistaken for chronic overthinking. You know that feeling when you meet someone new and your internal system flashes a yellow warning light? There's no logical reason for it, no data to back it up, but a part of you just knows something is off. You might try to talk yourself out of it, labeling it as judgment or paranoia, but weeks or months later, the truth comes out and you realize your initial feeling was dead-on accurate. This isn't a magical power. It's a data processing skill honed by necessity. Psychologists believe that when you grow up in an environment where you need to read subtle cues for your emotional or physical safety, your brain becomes a master pattern matcher. You're not just listening to words, you're processing tone, body language, pupil dilation, and the spaces between sentences. Your brain synthesizes thousands of these tiny data points in milliseconds, long before your conscious mind can form a coherent sentence. This is why your body arrives at the truth long before your mind can draw the map. What you call overthinking is often your intelligence running countless simulations based on past data to keep you safe. It's a gift, even when it feels like a burden. This leads directly into the second sign, which is emotional forecasting. You've probably just been called a pessimist or a worrywart your whole life. Emotional forecasting is the ability to map out the likely emotional trajectory of a situation with uncanny accuracy. While your friends are excited about a new project, you're already thinking about the 3 places it could go wrong. This isn't because you want to ruin the mood. It's because your mind has built an internal pre-mortem analysis system. You've been in situations where things fell apart unexpectedly, so your brain now works tirelessly to prevent that from happening again. You're not being negative, you're being strategic. You always have a backup plan for your backup plan. This is why you're the person people turn to when things inevitably do go sideways. They might call you a pessimist in the planning stages, but they call you a lifesaver in the crisis. Your mind is like an emotional seismograph, detecting faint tremors of future conflict or disappointment long before they register as earthquakes for others. It's an exhausting process, but it has also made you incredibly resilient and prepared. The third sign is a skill you use in every single conversation. We call it subtextual literacy. This is the ability to read between the lines of what people say, to hear the conversation that's happening underneath the conversation. Someone tells you, "I'm fine," and your brain doesn't just hear the words, it analyzes the slight hesitation, the way their eyes shifted, the micro-tension in their jaw. You receive a work email that says, "Let's discuss this further," and you instantly know it's not an invitation for collaboration, but a signal of disapproval. This is because you learned early on that what people say is often the least important part of their communication. In some childhoods, survival means learning to decode the hidden curriculum of the household. You had to learn the difference between what was said and what was meant to navigate a parent's unpredictable moods or unspoken rules. You became fluent in the language of silence, of sighs, of things left unsaid. This makes you an incredibly empathetic friend and a deeply insightful colleague. But it can also be isolating because you often feel like you're playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers. If this is resonating with you, if you feel like we're finally putting a name to your experience, you're in the right place. Consider subscribing to continue this journey of understanding together. Now, the fourth sign is one that modern psychology has a very specific name for, but we're going to reframe it. Let's talk about threat detection, which is often dismissed as hypervigilance. Hypervigilance sounds like a disorder, a glitch in your system. Threat detection sounds like a high-level strategic analysis skill, and that's exactly what it is. You're the person who, upon entering a new space, like a cafe or an office, instinctively clocks all the exits. You assess the mood of the room, the potential for conflict, and the quickest path to safety, all in a matter of seconds, and mostly unconsciously. This is a direct evolutionary upgrade from a past where your environment was not guaranteed to be safe. Your nervous system learned that being relaxed and unaware could be dangerous. So it developed a constant, low-level scanning program that runs in the background of your consciousness. While it can be exhausting, this skill is also why you might instinctively avoid a street that later proves to be unsafe, or why you have a bad feeling about a business deal that eventually collapses. You aren't paranoid. You are processing environmental data that others are filtering out. Your brain doesn't have an off switch because at one point that switch being on was the only thing keeping you secure. These abilities we've discussed are undeniably powerful. They have likely saved you in countless ways, both seen and unseen.
But we have to be honest here.
This gift, this intelligence, comes with a significant cost. Ignoring this cost would be irresponsible and would invalidate a huge part of your lived experience. This brings us to the fifth and perhaps most deeply felt sign of traumatic intelligence: chronic emotional exhaustion. Think of your brain as a computer. Most people's minds are running one or two primary applications at any given time. Your mind, however, is running the main application, plus the constant background processes of threat detection, subtextual analysis, and emotional forecasting. Your CPU is always running at 90% capacity, even when you appear to be resting. This is why simple social interactions can feel as draining for you as running a marathon. You aren't just having a conversation, you are simultaneously decoding nonverbal cues, managing the other person's emotions, and scanning for potential relational landmines. This is why you need so much time alone to recharge. It's not that you're antisocial, it's that you're trying to close down all the extra browser tabs your mind is opened. Psychologists refer to this as a high allostatic load, where the cumulative wear and tear on the body from chronic stress becomes a physical and emotional burden. The price of being an emotional sponge is that you are often left carrying the weight of water that was never yours to hold. This exhaustion isn't a sign of weakness. It is the logical and predictable outcome of a mind that has been working overtime for years to protect you. Understanding this cost is the first step toward learning how to manage your energy more effectively. And the next sign is one most of us hate to admit, even to ourselves. Sign 6 is proactive self-sabotage. This is not the clumsy, accidental kind of self-sabotage. This is a strategic, calculated act of destruction disguised as self-preservation. You're on the verge of something truly good, a healthy relationship, a dream job, a period of genuine peace. And just as you're about to dock, you set fire to your own vessel. You pick a fight, you miss a deadline, you find a reason to run. Here's the brutal logic behind it. You burn the ship so you never have to worry about it sinking. The anxiety of waiting for the other shoe to drop is more unbearable than the certainty of the drop itself. By taking control of the destruction, you maintain a twisted sense of agency in a situation that feels terrifyingly out of your control. This is your past teaching you that good things are temporary and that abandonment is inevitable. It's a devastatingly intelligent strategy to avoid a pain you believe is coming anyway. This ties into our seventh sign, which is an intense discomfort with calm. When things are going well, when life is peaceful and stable, you don't feel relaxed. You feel on guard. The quiet feels loud, and the peace feels like the eerie silence before a storm. This is because your nervous system was calibrated in chaos. It learned that loud is normal, and that calm is a temporary state before the next crisis. You've learned to trust the storm, so you can't hear the silence. Your system literally interprets the absence of threat as a sign that you must have missed something. So you start scanning, looking for the problem, sometimes even creating one just to alleviate the anxiety of the calm. Finally, the eighth sign is one that channels this intense energy outward, a deep sense of justice. People with traumatic intelligence often have a fiercely protective instinct for the underdog, the oppressed, and the misunderstood. You can't stand bullying or unfairness. This is because you know on a cellular level what it feels like to be powerless. Your history of experiencing injustice has sensitized you to its presence everywhere.
Your empathy isn't just a passive feeling, it is an active, motivating force for change.
This can make you a powerful advocate, a loyal friend, and a champion for those without a voice. It is the beautiful, world-changing upside of having seen the worst of the world. So we've laid out all 8 signs. If you're still here, chances are you recognized yourself in more than a few of them. And now you might be feeling a mix of profound validation and a quiet sense of frustration. Because knowing all this is only half the battle, isn't it? Awareness is critical, but it doesn't automatically stop the radar from scanning or the mind from forecasting disaster. A diagnosis is the map, not the destination. It shows you where you are, but it doesn't walk the path for you. So, as promised, I want to give you one free, simple, and actionable tool you can use right now. This isn't a magic cure, but it is a way to turn down the volume on your intelligence when it becomes overwhelming. This is a grounding technique called the 5-4-3-2-1 method. When you feel your mind spiraling, pause. First, look around and name 5 things you can see. It could be a lamp, a crack in the ceiling, a pen on your desk. Next, acknowledge 4 things you can feel. Notice the texture of your shirt, the chair beneath you, the cool air on your skin. Then, listen for 3 things you can hear. This could be the hum of a computer, distant traffic, your own breathing. After that, identify 2 things you can smell. Maybe it's the coffee on your desk or the soap on your hands. Finally, name 1 thing you can taste. This simple exercise forces your brain out of the abstract world of worry and back into the physical reality of the present moment. It interrupts the feedback loop of anxiety and gives your nervous system a chance to reset. We've journeyed through the complex landscape of your mind today. We've taken traits you may have considered flaws, anxieties, or burdens, and we've called them what they are. They are evidence of intelligence. The deep intuition, the emotional forecasting, the subtextual literacy, the threat detection, and even the exhaustion are all pieces of a complex survival kit. You are not broken. You are brilliantly adapted. Remember that high-performance radar system we talked about at the beginning? It was built to keep you safe, and it did its job so well that it's still running. Your task now isn't to dismantle it, but to learn how to operate it. You need to learn when to trust its signals and when to gently power it down using tools like the one we just practiced. Your pain forged a powerful mind. Your healing will teach you how to wield it. This video gave you the what and the why of traumatic intelligence. But if you're ready for the how, then I have something for you. Understanding these patterns is one thing, but actually changing them requires a structured approach. That's why I've created a comprehensive 7-day mindful reset bundle. It's a series of guided journals and audio exercises designed to help you build the new neural pathways for calm, focus, and emotional regulation. If you're ready to move from just knowing to actually doing, click the link in the description to learn more. Thank you for sharing your time with me today.